This is a problem that is going on right next door, but you just don't know about it.
Today we're here at Dr. Redcross's office.
Please have a seat.
To get the results of all Danielle's physicals. To me, this is another step in the process of getting her into recovery, and that's exciting.
Your heart rate is a little bit slower than I would have liked. When you're vomiting, you lose electrolytes. And when you lose those, you can send your heart into a tailspin.
Really?
Yeah, and there is a relationship with sudden death. Now over to your bone density, it looks as if you have a small compression fracture at the L4 spine.
Is that down here?
It is. It's your lower back.
Always hurts.
Well, I bet you that's exactly why. My biggest concern is that this is the first sign of bone deterioration. This can be due to the calcium you're losing when you purge. Even though you're now in your 20s, I'm not so certain that we're going to be so lucky in your 30s because there's been damage done.
Is everything you're talking about here repairable?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Absolutely reversible. But you have to want to reverse it. All right, so what you have is a syndrome called pica.
What's pica?
Well, pica is actually a disorder where people eat non-food substances in place of food sometimes. The other thing that's interesting is that usually when you have pica, you have anemia. Now, the chalk itself does not cause the anemia. The anemia is usually first, but the iron deficiency can give you cravings for substances such as clay and chalk. I think the first thing we need to do is get a full blood panel, including your electrolytes, an EKG, and a bone density test as well to see exactly where we are. You are, in fact, anemic. But the biggest concern to me has actually been your bone density or bone DEXA test that we did. You have osteoporosis in your lumbar spine, which is your lower back. And you have pre-stages of osteoporosis in your hips on both sides. The reason why this is of a big concern to me is because you're only 36 years old, and I usually see these results in my 70 or 80-year-olds.
And what caused that?
Eating chalk.
How, though? From the chalk eating? Are you kidding me?
It's affecting.
Is it a research study saying it's from chalk eating you get this osteoporosis?
What's happening for you, once you're eating the chalk, you're not eating the other foods. And so therefore you're not getting the calcium and the vitamin D that your body needs. And instead of getting the minerals that it's missing, it's breaking down bone in order to get it into your bloodstream.
I don't think it's a chalk.
I realize it's a challenge. I realize it's a challenge to hear something like this. But the best way to help is just to be 100% honest and open with you about what's happening to your body.
So, what is the solution?
The best solution is obviously to stop the chalk. If you stop that, start eating correctly, start weight-bearing exercise, then yes, this is very, very reversible.
After Dr. Redcross relayed the information to me on my osteoporosis, that scared me. I realized that I need help. I have no other questions.
How many times a day do you think you're purging?
It could be 2 to 3 times.
And that's just routine. And how long has that routine been going on to the 2 or 3 times?
Wow, for at least the last 5 years, 5-6 years.
I see that you have some cuts. I see some on your hand and also one on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me a little bit about where they come from?
I usually cut when something extremely bad happened.
What does that make you feel like?
Almost like the cutting, the first part of it is the binging. And then the purging is the blood coming out.
As you look at Andrew, you see a boy who looks like he's just very normal. But as you look a little bit deeper, you see an emaciated male who is obviously not getting the nutrients that he needs. The thing that troubled me when I went through everything was the fact that I looked at your bone density. It looks as if you have moderate osteopenia. Now, osteopenia is a pre-stage to osteoporosis. And the reason why it was so alarming to me is because you usually don't see this in men. You usually see it in elderly females. My biggest concern is that this is the first sign of bone deterioration. This can be due to the calcium you're losing when you purge.
Bulimia is finally, it's taking its toll on me. And right now I'm very scared, and I think, I really have to change my ways before it's too late.
I didn't undress it because then it's going to start gushing blood. It's kind of stuck to the tissue.
Think it's gonna be hard to get off?
You may have to wet it.
Let me take a look. Okay, can I get some gauze dipped in saline?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's see what we have, okay? How are we doing? Doing okay? Okay. Okay. He has some very deep lacerations, at least 3 or 4 that I could see. He couldn't even tolerate me taking off the bandage with the other cuts because the blood has already gotten hard and dried. These cuts are way too deep for us to do here, and you're actively somewhat bleeding right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you over to the emergency room. I'm gonna give a call ahead of time, letting them know you're coming, letting them know that we're probably gonna require several sutures in order for us to be able to stop the bleeding on this one. It's very, very sad to see, and to see the amount of pain he caused himself. I thought we were so close to making him better, and it seems like we're back to square one. Okay, so he's gonna require a ton of sutures. A freaking ton. I thought it was important to escort Andrew over here to the emergency room. Reluctantly, he went, and hopefully he's gonna get a lot of the care that he needs.